Okay, hello and welcome to another episode, a brand new episode of No Splinters. It's Harry and Harv. Harvey's back after a short little sabbatical. He had a week off
Yeah.
we had a in-person debate, didn't we, the other week, Harv, about the Euros. I'm sure you'd have loved to have pitched in. I can imagine you'd have had a few shouts for a few of the Leeds players.
Yeah, I mean, hello and yeah, well, good to be back, mate. Good to see you. I enjoyed your Euro special. You finally admitted you were a Leeds fan on there, which was always a pleasure.
I thought, do I cut this bit out or not? But you know what I
Well,
mean. You've got to stay true to the word,
you're a
don't
good
you?
sport. You're a good sport. You minced your words, and you finally admitted your long loving for Leeds was there to all to see. But no, it was a great episode and filled the gap, they say, during the Euros.
Yeah, no, mate. I enjoyed it. To be fair, it's one of those. It's quite good to get in person. Obviously, I mean, it's been a while now, hasn't it, since Cheltenham? But yourself and Rory Miller did a Cheltenham special, and that went well. So I mean, it's going good. I mean, work's busy for myself. I'm sure it's busy for you. So we're fitting this one in on a Monday evening after a pretty bonkers Premier League weekend. It's good to have the Premier League back, and I mean, there is nowhere else to start. I mean, you've been pestering everyone all weekend. And in fairness, there's not too much I can say to take the mick out of you because Leeds United, in my opinion, came up with the result of, if not this season, well, the last few seasons. I can't remember a better result, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, I'm sure you're going to go and wax lyrical. I mean, if you're not a Leeds fan, you've got to commend what they did on Saturday. I mean, Man City are being seen at the moment as the best side in Europe. Everyone's talking about how great they are. That's a different story. I mean, the comparison to Liverpool of last year is a nonsense. But they're a great side, amazing squad depth, and they had a lot of the star players playing, a few missing during the Champions League break. But what Leeds United to win with 10 men, Harv? I mean, you must have been over the moon.
Yeah, it was brilliant, mate. I expect nothing less from that Leeds United squad to put up a fight. We take it back to the early stages of the game, and to go one up in itself, it was a great sort of feat. And then for Dallas to sort of go one up in the 41st minute, and then to be cruelly, football sort of slaps you back down and gives you a red card out of nowhere, really. And it was the first challenge of the game, to be honest. So that sort of really upset the apple cart after going 1-up to then going down to 10 men. I thought, here we go again. I thought Andre Marino was extremely poor throughout. It seemed like it was reffing two different teams. If you had a Man City shirt on, you can get away with cold-blooded murder, and then if you had a Leeds badge on, if you touch a Man City player, it's a straight foul. I thought he was extremely poor. I think Phillips summed it up best when he told him where to go in the 60-odd minute. Come out half-time, Bielsa sacrificed Bamford, which was unusual. You don't really see Bielsa making a negative substitution like that, but with 10 men against the talent of Man City, he does that, and then we hold on, and it's like hold the fort. But what he did, which was really interesting, was he sort of said, right, well, you can have the wings, you can play all you want. If you try and come down the middle, we're going to stop you. And it really, really unsettled Man City. It took them a long time to get through. I think the 75th minute, Fernando Torres finally scored. But then again, Leeds never faltered, and then we get Phillips wins the ball, plays Rafinha through in the 85th minute, and Edison makes an absolute worldie one-on-one save where I don't know if you've seen it, he slide tackles him one-on-one. He doesn't even go with his hand; he actually slide tackles him. It was a great challenge, and you think that's it really, and they come knocking on the door, and then lo and behold, we pick the ball up, and Dallas, don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was playing as a false nine, and he was away. And he in the 91st minute, he's one-on-one with John Stones, who didn't do any defending all game, had to defend, and the rest is history, really. 2-1 leads and a result for the history books, and one that for me it's a bittersweet because I should have been there in the away end at the Etihad, giving it the big one, really. So it was a great game and a great, what that's what football's all about, isn't it? 10 versus.
It is, mate. It is. I mean, you're spot on with you being in the away end there. You'd be giving it the big limbs. I mean, the scenes would be great. It would be it is one of the great victories. It feels a bit hollow without the fans, because you've got to think of Leeds United coming up from the Championship against Man City, the all-conquering Man City, champions in waiting. And obviously, to go and beat 10 men is a massive result. And City at the Etihad have obviously been really impressive. There's a lot of things to touch upon, right? We'll start with a positive, in the sense, there's a lot of chat, right? When you lads went to Man United and you got, as much as you say, you played great football, was entertaining, you got absolutely battered, right? You got played off the park, and you had this philosophy where we're going to play our way, and if we get beat, we get beat, but it's going to be entertaining. Do as we die. And the criticism, from my opinion, or from my perspective, was that Leeds United, you need to go and you need to change the way you play. You can go and play against certain sides and dominate the ball and just absolutely run ragged and win games. But you went to the likes of Liverpool. I know it was a great game and you lost, and obviously United and the Spurs. I think there's been times where I think you could be critical of Bielsa. I'm not saying you should be winning those games, but where the philosophy should change. And you look at the stats. I know you went down to 10 men, but you had 2 shots on target, 2 shots all game, and 28% possession. That's not a Leeds United side of normal. But you've come away with 3 points. You've gone to City. You played your different style of football. You've sat behind the ball and you've gone, bang, we're going to go and take them on the counter. And you sat here now with a win and a famous victory. Whereas if Leeds United, there might be a reason for Bielsa to look at going, maybe we can edit the way that we play against these certain sides, and we can compete for European spots.
See, I get what you're saying, but Bielsa even said after the game, they said, have you ever practiced for anything like that? He said, no, I've never practiced putting 3 centre-backs on. And I get what you're saying, but as a Leeds fan, that was exciting. It was fun because we won. Did I enjoy it? Yes, because we won. However, what I want to see is just soak up, pressure every week. No, I don't enjoy that.
But it wouldn't be every week. It would be when you're going away to the big boys.
Yeah, but if you look at Wolves, for example, right? They used to play how we play now, where they're all out attack. They've now changed to a more negative system, partly because Jimenez is injured, and they're suffering a lot more. But it's like, what do you want? For me, I'm quite happy with going toe to toe, and it's exciting and it's fun. But I think also the Leeds players, that only worked because we were down to 10 men and they had a point to prove. They were like, right, well, I don't think that we would play like that every week, and I don't think Leeds fans would stand for that either, to be honest. I don't. And neither does Bielsa. Bielsa won't have secretly he'll enjoyed the win, but he won't have enjoyed putting 3 centre-backs on and parking the bus. I just don't think that's anything he's ever done in his career, and I don't think he's going to start
he
to
wants
do
to
that
do.
now.
No, I mean, I get that. All right, then. The red card. I know it's more of a sour moment, but for me, I mean, I found it funny that all the Leeds the Twitter accounts, yourself included, all forgetting which frame that the red card got rescinded on. I mean, I've seen people go to Armley for less than that, mate. I mean, I'm not having it. It's an absolute straight red card. I can't even fathom any argument how it's not a red card. He's nearly decapitated Jesus' leg. He might have won the ball, but you can't win the ball and go through a man.
Right. I'll tell you right now that Cooper has won the ball, right? So where he's won. So his first contact is with the ball, looking at the ball, right? His second contact, admittedly, he gets Jesus. I'm not saying there wasn't any contact with Jesus. I think that's a perfect orange card where, yes,
it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, right, he's reckless, right? But he wins them, and the initial contact is for the ball. There is no violent intent on hitting Jesus. Now, put it this way: if Tyler Roberts the week before, when he gets sent on his neck by Bollock, which is arguably a worse challenge, right? If that's viewed by even looked at by VAR, right, I wouldn't have minded. It's the fact they pick and choose what tackles they look at and what they don't. On Sunday, the Burnley game, he boots the bloke in the face, and it's like, that's not a foul. And it's like, well, that's arguably more of a dangerous contact. Slowed down. It looks like he's just taking him out with a karate kick.
But 2 wrongs don't make a right, mate. I mean,
what I'm saying is, it's
the inconsistency of VAR.
And literally had a City shirt on all game. The problem with VAR is it was brought in to balance the whole game out and make sure that you don't have teams like Fergie's Man United where they got every decision they got, right? That was the whole point. But it seems to me that it only favours the big clubs again. And VAR. I know we don't talk about it much because it's getting to a point now where I literally speaking to people and they're like, I just don't like football anymore because you can't celebrate goals.
No,
Imagine if Dallas had brushed John Stones in the face and I'm going nuts, and then all of a sudden some bloody Jobsworth in Stockley Park's ruled that out.
But the difference is, right?
The narrative.
The thing is,
rubbish.
mate, I fully agree with you. Look at some of the decisions.
I'm not saying you're pro VAR. I think what you're saying is Cooper's is a red, and that's fine.
Cooper's is a red, mate.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that is a red card. I mean, you look at it, yeah, he gets the ball, you slow it down, and you've frozen the frames. People have frozen the frames where he wins the ball, and he does win the ball, but you freeze the frame where he's got his studs on his side of his knee. I mean, it just because he didn't decapitate his leg doesn't mean he didn't nearly do. I mean, it's a fine margin.
He had a busy weekend the weekend before, so it was.
Yeah, but you look at who was it? Your old lad, Kemar Roof at Leeds, when he footed that lad in the Europa League game. He didn't mean to. He didn't mean to, but it's one of them. It is what it is. I mean, obviously you've won the game. The red card's just a non-talking point.
A few times, I would be surprised if he put it this way. I don't buy that he didn't mean to do that.
He's got a side in him.
He's got a nasty streak in him. Put it that way.
He's got the old damn United.
He could take the boy out of Leeds, etc., etc. I've seen him a few times late.
Dirty Leeds.
So I'm not surprised he absolutely clouted the lad.
No, but it was a cracking game, right? Okay, but so I'm going to ask you this question. I mean, Chris Boyd, we touched upon it before this. Obviously, he came out before the game and said about Leeds United. And from my opinion, as an outsider, although you might say I'm on the inside, it's deep down, but I'm not. As an outsider, I've got to commend what Bielsa's done and Leeds have done. I mean, I look at the table now. You are sat 10th, but you're sat with Arsenal, joint with Arsenal. I mean, you're what? You're 4 points behind Tottenham Hotspur's, Mourinho's. They've got the likes of Bale. You're only 7 points behind Liverpool. I mean, we've had a terrible season, but for what Leeds have achieved, you have spent 100 million, but you haven't spent 100 million right on two players. You've bought a load of squad depth, and obviously you look at the likes of Rafinha, who for that money is just an absolute steal. You'll get your 100 million back from him probably. But I know obviously you think it's a great season. First year up, you're safe and you're flying. Where do you think you end up this season for Leeds, and where do you kick on?
I think the £100 million question is what do we do in the summer? I think that you've got a few aging players with you, obviously Dallas 30, Ayled's 30, Coops 31. You've got a few players that are getting on in the Klitsch is 30. So you're at that crossroads now where what do you do? Do you add quality like we did in the summer, or do you look at saying, right, well, we've got 2 years left of these boys. Let's bring in someone understudy and add depth. Personally, I think what you need to do is priority number one is a left back, because we've had a left winger playing left back all year. I think that is a position that is number one priority is left back. Another one is a creative midfielder, because I don't think you can rely on Dallas to have the seat. I mean, even Bielsa said he didn't think Dallas had this season in him in terms of goals. And then
you obviously you look at Frog Eyes, as I'm going to call him. He's obviously 35 and he's off, isn't he? He's going back to his old club. You're missing that kind of player, I think, aren't you? Look at what he did in the Championship last year when he came on. He was so effective. I think
Rafinha,
exactly.
He's a man's creative player, and then maybe look at getting an understudy. There's talk of us looking at the England under-19 striker who's currently playing in Holland. The name escapes me, McCoodley or someone like that. He's tipped as an understudy to Bamford, but I don't think we need to do a lot other than just sort of sprinkle in some more quality.
So what's the aim? Is it a sort of Wolves where you end up getting into the 7th position, Europa League, like a Burnley did? And
I don't want to put it this way. It'd be great, but I don't want it because it's too early. I don't think we have the squad. I think Bielsa, if you look at what Bielsa did at Atletico Bilbao, he flogged them because he played the same team all the time in the league and then in Europa. Where the famous where they beat Man United. That squad, you look at the burnout after that. I mean, that wasn't burnout as such. The players said they couldn't physically play any more games than they did. They played something like 48 48, 49 games. So Europa's no, I don't need. We don't need that. We need another season like we're doing, just building, growing.
Yeah, I think you will. I mean, you look at it. They're a big club, and I think 57 points was the most from a promoted side, which would mean you need 13 points in 7 games.
Yeah.
It's doable. I mean, it's be a big ask, but I don't know. I don't know
We've
the
got
fixture list
freebie on
coming
Monday
in.
night, haven't we?
Who have you got?
You should know.
Oh, is it Liverpool?
Yeah.
Oh, is it at
Klopp returns.
at Ellen
Klopp
Road?
comes to the Ellen Road for the first time.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be Monday night football. That'll be a decent game. But no, I'm just happy with. Obviously, we don't want to make it too much of a Leeds loving because I'm sure that there's a few people that are probably sick of hearing my voice about Leeds. But
No, we are moving on. We are moving on.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play. I mean, it was a big result. Another game on Saturday. It was, similar results, similar sort of same result, similar way. Obviously, it finished with a winner at the end of the game. Our boys,
Yeah.
Liverpool. Top four. We're not going to touch upon the game, I suppose, in specific. We're just going to have a look at the top four race because City have won the league. United have come second, and that battle for top four. It's anywhere from Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. For me, I think might just be out of it now. You've got to look. They're 3 points behind Liverpool, and Everton. If they've got 2 games in hand, if they win them both, they're still in the hunt. So. There's a real race on, and obviously Liverpool's victory against Aston Villa was a massive 3 points. I mean, you look at the VAR decision again. We're not going to go into VAR because we've done it to death earlier in the season. But I mean, that offside's a joke. It's another one of them which is ridiculous. Obviously, in the other game with United and Spurs, I mean, United, how that goal got disallowed is actually laughable, beyond a joke. And I mean, yeah, exactly, 2 clubs that you're not massively fond of, but we all understand. Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, have you seen the clip where it shows the 3D of the winner? It's a really good clip, and it's one of those that he's had a sticky few weeks. I mean, I thought he was brilliant against Arsenal. I thought against Madrid, there's no doubt that he'd had a tough game, and there's all this chat about him with the Euros, and there's a lot of pressure on him. There's no doubt, a young lad. There's a lot of chat, and to score a winner like that at Anfield, it's something that I feel like really missed the crowd to just tell him how much that the Anfield Liverpool fans love him, because you score that winner and you just hear your name being sung around Anfield, and a massive 3 points. And I thought Liverpool did deserve the win, definitely. I thought the first half they dominated, second half it was poor, it was sloppy. But I thought what a great winner, and the top four race is on. What do you think?
No, I mean, a good game. I think Villa. I mean, that early disallowed goal sort of. I think you'd have been a lot more comfortable had you had the lead earlier on. I think Villa are a different team without Grealish. They got lucky the week before, and I think that it's amazing how all these sort of pundits go on about certain other squads over relying on players, but then Grealish, Dean Smith can do no wrong, and he's played Grealish like every minute, and now he's had a 7 weeks out now nearly, and I think
He's having more, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's a repetitive injury, so they've obviously played him when he's been in the red zone. So for me, that's disappointing from an England point of view, because I think we will lack him in the Euros. Now, Trent, for me, I'm a big critic of Trent, mainly because you've made me a critic of Trent, because you tell me how good it is, and whenever I watch him, I can't see it. Now, there is an argument to say Trent is not a good defender. It's clear he's not the best defender in the world, but he does have a right foot that can take him all the way to be one of the best players in world football. And you Exhibit A, I was winding you up a bit saying it was a hit and hope, but it certainly wasn't a hit and hope. He knew exactly where he wanted to put that football, and it was a great finish, and fair play to him. And like, you forget how young he is as well. I think because he's done so much in his career, and I don't rate him as a right back as much as others, but I think you've got to take a step back. He's the only Scouser in the squad, or one of the only Scousers in the squad. So to be a Scouser playing for Liverpool, you forget the pressure he's under from his family. He carries that extra bit of baggage, I guess, which is positive in a way. But then you forget, if he's having a bad game, he's got to go home to 100 Liverpool fans, And I think that we don't give young players enough credit, because the reason why they're on the top stage and getting talked about is because they are better than their peers. Look at Declan Rice; he gets stick. He's only young. Um,
It's
and
it's a
go
real
on.
English mentality, I think.
Yeah.
That we build someone up. Look at Trent. I mean, what he'd achieved by 21 years old in terms of he was runner-up Golden Boys, and he'd been voted FIFA best right back in the world 2 years in a row, and he'd won Champions League, Premier Leagues, and everyone last year was Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and everyone acknowledged how good he was. But people love to see someone get brought down. It happened with Anthony Joshua. It happened with David Beckham. As in, there's a bit of a happened with Wayne Rooney when he was a young kid. When there's a moment of failure or things, the British public, and it might not just be British public, it might be the global public, but we love to tear
It's
someone
definitely
down.
a very British mentality.
It's like we like to bring people down and sort of go, nah, they're shit. We'll put them back in their box. And I'm not saying I'm immune to this. I don't do the same thing. I think we all probably do it about people, but it's definitely something that, you know what I mean. The lad's reached the top, and because he'd reached those heights, we set him to those precedents, set him to those esteem. And when he doesn't get there, we all like to tear him down and tell him he's shit. But he's not at the end of the day. I mean, he did make a mistake against Madrid. There's no doubt. But I think obviously we've done Trent to death.
Yeah,
I mean,
done
he's a
him.
great. He's a great player. But go on then. We need to touch upon Jesse Lingard, mate, because if you'd have said to me, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that Jesse Lingard is almost, I mean, I don't know if he will get in the squad, but he's almost a nailed on for the Euros. He could arguably be in team of the season in terms of, look how Bruno got in the team of the season last year, and he could be in the champion. He could be leading West Ham to a Champions League spot. I'd have said, get lost,
mate. David Moyes, right? Fair play to the bloke. They play some nice footy. I think that the Leicester West Ham game was a great game to watch in terms of there's one team that's sort of struggling around, and then you've got like Lingard's first goal is some effort, by the way. Like he's a hell of a goal. But he's all you can just tell, like, it's amazing what confidence does to players.
Yeah.
Like, he's oozing with class, and like I think that being at Manchester United, it's good for some players, but you forget how big of a club they actually are. Like, you forget how many eyes are on you at Manchester United. Even though they've not been very good for the last few years, you forget how much of a goldfish bowl that club is, and it can be toxic. And some players just can't, for whatever reason, if they fall out of favour. Like, you imagine one day you're the main man at Manchester United, and the next day you're on the reserves that even get a kick. It can kill players. Like, look at Donny van de Beek. He was one of the best midfielders in Europe. Like, Ajax he was touted, and they've got him, and they've ruined him. Like, they haven't played him. They haven't, it can absolutely swallow players.
It's what happens with big squad, isn't it? Because you can get forgotten, you can get washed away, especially when you've got players like Bruno, who is an amazing player. I'm not saying Jesse Lingard should have been ahead of him by any means, but it just shows you that the talent that Lingard had, and we saw it a bit at the Euros. I thought he had the World Cup. I thought he had a really good World Cup. I think, and he scored big goals in big games. I think he's got two. I think he scored the winner in 2 finals. So he's had a good career, and obviously it's been touted that his private life, he looks after his family. He's apparently a really good family man and stuff. And I'm a big Jesse Lingard fan. I mean, I hate most Manchester United players, but Lingard's always been, for me, I've always liked him. I've always thought he's got a bit about him, and it's really good to see him go at West Ham. And you're just looking at his price rocket. I mean, West Ham now, they've got to really be thinking. I mean, 7 games left. They're sat in that 4th position. Yeah. The run-ins coming in. I haven't looked at who they've got, but now they are definitely in the hunt. I mean, beating Leicester. We'll just move to Leicester then for this sort of section. Brendan Rodgers, right? I think he's a fantastic manager, but there's a big asterisk here because what happened at Liverpool in 2013-14, I could forgive in the sense that they went on a great run, but they sort of bottled it at the end, and that Rodgers was a young, inexperienced manager. What happened last year at Leicester? He was in top 4. They seemed destined for top 4, and then it all seemed to fall away. There was a few injuries, but I gave him a pass. For me, if they don't get top 4 this year, I can't give them a pass on this one because I thought they were going to finish second. They haven't had that many injuries. They've had a bit of Maddison and Justin's injured, but that squad, at the position they were in, that there's no way 2 years in a row that they can't get top 4 here.
No, I agree, and like we've praised West Ham as much as we can, and rightly so. And I think that now a lot of people are sort of waking up to what Moyes is doing there, and Leicester are the same. I think we both equally enjoy Leicester as a club. We like the way they run, we like the style of play, we like Brendan Rodgers actually, but I think also you're forgetting that there was a bit of commotion before the game And Rodgers, fair play to him, benched it, didn't even have him in the squad. And one of them was obviously Madison.
Do we know the story there?
Yeah, so I was reading about it today, and basically they had a bit of a shindig at one of the players' houses, and they came in the flash cars and then didn't think anything of it. But the neighbours dobbed them in, and the police didn't take any action because they turned all the lights off, so they couldn't actually see what was going on in the gaff. But by all accounts, there was a big old do somewhere in Leicestershire with all the players because even Wes Morgan was there, which I was shocked at because at first they said it was like Perez and some of the younger players, and then Wes Morgan's turned up to a dust up. But again, like that's Madison's England chance done. He's an idiot.
Yeah,
like,
I agree, mate. He's out. He's gone. Lingard's ahead of him for sure in that position if they do need one.
Stuff like that. Remember last time he was meant to be injured and he was pictured playing poker, having a beer at like 1 a.m, which I didn't have a problem with. But I think Southgate's what he's like. He likes what he likes, and what a silly mistake for Madison. Because imagine if Madison played in that game where he's playing directly against Lingard, and they both put on a masterclass, or he gets all the plaudits.
Yeah, he's the one that bags a brace. I fully agree. I think,
but fair play to Rodgers because he's having none of it. He says, look,
I still think Rodgers has got to get top four. A lot of people will go, well, he shouldn't have to get top four because of Leicester's budget and stuff. But you can't, as a manager, be in a position where for your third time in the Premier League, where you've had 3 great seasons up to, let's say, April. If you can't have 3 seasons where till April you've had a great season and then it's faded away. For me, there starts to be real worries. I mean, we've talked about Bielsa before, where there's a lot of people who say it fades away and stuff. And I'm not saying it's like a tired and energy thing from Leicester, but maybe it's Rodgers implementing the belief system. I don't know, but I just think Leicester City and cannot afford. I mean, they're now only 2 points clear of Chelsea, and I mean, I've got it in a bet that Leicester get top 4, so they better fucking do.
You'd be a bit worried there, mate. I think. Talking of top 4, maybe just look at the bottom 3. I think Saint-Maximin, how I would love to have him in the white shirt of Leeds. What a player he is, by the way. He's been
class.
Incredibly unlucky.
Why does he come off the bench?
He's had long COVID, and I genuinely think that he came back and then got another strain injury. He's never really been fit.
Scotty Parker's going down though, isn't he?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Roy Hodgson retires in the summer and Scotty Parker goes to Crystal Palace. I think that Scotty Parker, for me, has done enough to prove he's a good enough manager. Despite me having, I was critical of him last season with Fulham in the Championship, given that they had one of the best squads in the Championship, what he did. But actually, he'd come up, they were getting battered every week, and he sort of stopped the rot, but unfortunately it was too late. And Newcastle are jammy. They're going to stay up again. They're probably going to finish 17th, or might even finish higher. But I think that Brucey, we've said enough on Fulham why Fulham is a better team to stay in the Premier League than Newcastle. But and then Sheffield United, they're down. Old Kes Paul Eckenbottom, he's having a run out in the Prem, which I never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, never thought. Former Leeds manager. I mean, that's. I think.
On the sideline, and his bobbles on the go.
I was hoping, obviously, Fulham versus Newcastle was the last game of the season. I was just hoping that it'd get to that game, whether Fulham can get it to 3 points, so it sort of makes it interesting. But for me, I think that's done. Fulham, West Brom and Sheffield United are gone, obviously, which means that Leeds are the only team that stay up, and they switch with Sheffield United from the promoted sides. And obviously, you look at the Championship, very, very similar patterns of the same teams are going up and down. Go on, Barnsley.
Yeah,
obviously, there's that.
To go up, mate.
Would you?
That'll be class story. That they had an amazing run to stay up on the last day. They needed to win like six out of the last 7, and they did it. And then they got this. Their gaffer went to New York Red Bulls, and they got this new guy, and he's mint. And they've got a striker called Dykey on loan from Orlando City, big American centre forward, and he's scoring for fun. But they're a proper good team to watch. I think. Do you watch them against Chelsea? Well, they give Chelsea a right game, and then I've watched them a couple of times.
Oh, I think Hudson-Odoi. There's one that he got. Tammy got a hat trick.
Yeah,
I think I did watch that.
It was in January, but that'd be what a story that'd be.
Would be.
Barnsley come up with Norwich and Watford. That'd be
with
some
Barnsley switching with Sheffield United down in the South
partly
Yorkshire.
why. And old Hecky, he was old Barnsley manager, wasn't he? So he's gone. He's gone down, and
he's gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
He's gone the wrong way. All right. Well, I think we've touched upon the Premier League. There's a lot of obviously stuff we can go across. I think we'll just briefly finish off.
Man U, fair play as well. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I know we brushed upon that. It's just because there's so much to go over. But yeah, I mean, United. We've
in his stripes, isn't he?
We've got to swallow. We've got to swallow whatever pill it is, isn't we? I mean, he's doing a decent job, to be fair.
He's doing a very good job. As much as we mocked and derided him, he's absolutely smashed it. In fairness to him.
Yeah, I mean, they're the comeback kings. It's 28 points or something like that.
I read a funny meme, and it was like they turn into prime Barca whenever they get 1-0 down. And but to be fair, they shouldn't have gone 1-0 down.
No, I mean, Spurs are a terrible side. I mean, I look at that. I don't know what Mourinho's doing.
Malik put the mockers on them, mate, didn't he? Jesus.
Yeah,
they were going for the title.
Look how bad Liverpool have been. Like, we all acknowledge Liverpool have had an absolute stinker of a season, especially since December. And you think Spurs are still behind Liverpool. How bad have they been?
They're hunting them down.
Yeah, and Harry Kane's going, but where he goes remains to be seen. But obviously, where he goes might be against Liverpool's opponents on Wednesday night. And Real Madrid
to replace Haaland.
Could he goes to City? Champions League, mate. We'll be brief. I mean, you've obviously got your Dortmund shirt on. Manchester City. Manchester City are going away to the Yellow Wall on Tuesday night. Do you think? I mean, Dortmund have to have a sniff after City got outplayed. I mean, that Bellingham goal was a fair goal the other night. It was a ridiculous decision. Yeah. Another stinker. Dortmund deserved to come away with a draw at least. I mean, Phil Foden aside, Man City were poor. And I just thought, maybe Dortmund have got a real sniff here. Haaland, I mean, you see he's clocking up at 30 odd miles an hour. Or 38 kilometers an hour. I think Dortmund will believe they can do this.
Yeah, I think also like Pep wanted to lose that game on Saturday because he just losing. They've been absolutely on fire, haven't they? They won 27 games in a row, something ridiculous. And then you lose one game and it's like you see that negative momentum that you don't need going into a cup final. In fairness, and it's the one trophy that's evaded Pep at City. And I just think that he might just regret resting a few players. Like, you should have played Foden. He's obviously going to play Foden on Tuesday. De Bruyne was kicking off, hands in the air, flapping around. There were a lot to be said about just, that sometimes it's best just to keep a winning team. Look at Klopp. He plays your best team no matter what, really. In fairness,
especially when we're winning, there's very limited change between Champions League games and Premier Leagues.
And you find that there's. Man United are sort of an anomaly that they sort of play two different teams, but they have a big enough squad to do it. Whereas City's bench is ridiculous, but Sterling looked out of form for me. Like it's going to be a test, but I'll be surprised.
It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. Obviously, the other English side, the big game is obviously PSG versus Bayern. I mean, that is a cracker in terms of elite football. Bayern have to go.
What a game the first leg was.
The first one, yeah, two cracking sides. Unbelievable. I mean, Lewandowski missing was definitely a big miss, and I think he's back. Which is I still make Bayern favourites, mate. I think PSG they're a bit soft underbelly. You look at they're not winning their league in France, and they lost to Lille the other week. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they can fully beat Bayern Munich again. But that's going to be a cracking game. But the Liverpool Real Madrid, I mean, Liverpool have got it all to do. They were terrible in Madrid, mate. Like so bad. The first half in Madrid is the worst I've watched them. You watched the Villa games. You watched when they got battered by City. There's a few games this season where we've had a bit
shell shocked.
Oh, mate, they didn't know how to pass the ball. I mean, Keita, Wijnaldum, they were all just giving the ball away. It was a real Fabinho. It was shocking. Like, it was a really bad performance. But there's no doubt that a 2-0 win at Anfield is possible. Liverpool need to play their best football. They need to cement the way that they play, and they need to go out there with a belief. You look at we were 4-0 against Barcelona in 2019. The crowd, I fully agree. But I think if Real Madrid score, I think it's if they score first, the game's done. I just think if Liverpool get a 1-0 lead at half time and that it's 1-0 with 20 minutes to go. if they can keep a clean sheet, you know what pressure's like. Real Madrid are going, we concede, and obviously that takes Liverpool through with away goals. So I think there's a chance there. I think Real Madrid are favourites, but I don't think Liverpool are out of it as a tie, and I think Chelsea are through.
Yeah, and Chelsea, we haven't really mentioned them either, but they dispatched Palace quite comfortably. And you've said all along, as soon as Tuchel came in, they've got a serious chance to kick on in the Champions League. But no, I think Chelsea are through. I think you can't, based on Liverpool's pedigree, you know, you're giving them a squeaky outside chance. I think that you've got to have a lot that goes in your favour. Real Madrid, they're not the Real Madrid of old. They're not the Galacticos of old. I think that they actually probably had one of their best games ever this season under Zidane. And it's just so happened it was against you boys in an important game. But I guess that's what happens when big clubs turn up. But the Spanish league's very poor this year as well. I think Atletico Madrid are top.
Real beat Barca, didn't they, on Saturday in the Clasico?
Yeah, the Clasico. But even that, I mean, that wasn't any coverage in England. I mean, the league are really in trouble. Like they've not distributed the TV rights very well, and you know, you wouldn't even know that unless you're a real football badger, you didn't even know the Clasico was on.
No, I agree. I mean, you look at the two clubs are in billions of pounds of debts, and who knows how that's going to stick out. So for me, I think the Champions League, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a cracker, and there's some really mouth-watering ties in the semi-final. If hopefully Liverpool can get through, that's all I care about. But
I hope so, mate. As an English football fan,
City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and PSG or Bayern.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so fussed if City went through, to be honest, because it's just funny, isn't it? They spend all that money and they do the old PSG.
I agree. I think, absolutely. I think Man City, not really a club that I warm to. But then again, it's a club that no one really cares about because they've got nothing to them. Well, that's not the only sport hard that's been this week. I mean, we'll just finish off really with the other stuff. I mean, you're into your racing. We've seen your half tips. Aintree, did you have many winners?
No, half tips. Despite having an extraordinary strike rate at Cheltenham and tipping big outsiders and all the rest of it, we had a bit of a mare on the Thursday. Friday was equally as bad. And then the Grand National, the closest I got was 7th. But what a story for racing. Rachel Blackmore, the Queen of Cheltenham, is now the Queen of Liverpool, Queen of Aintree. Henry de Bromhead's had 8 winners in the UK and made 1.4 million in prize money. So that's not a bad return for the season for Monsieur de Bromhead. But Rachel Blackmore, 31 years of age, you know, winning the Grand National, winning pretty much every race at Cheltenham. It was ridiculous. And what a narrative for the sport, and what a superstar for the sport to have.
What's the trophy at Cheltenham you get if you win it? Champion jockey? Is that so she got champion jockey and then she's won the Nationals. Has anyone done that before?
I believe AP's done that.
I know AP won it. He won the National, didn't he, quite late on in his career on
I was there the year he won his last ever National, he won it. I was there. It was a hell of a day out in Aintree. If you ever get a chance, Grand National Day at Aintree someday out, it's a hell of an experience. There's a lot of fake tan knocking about, put it that way. The Scousers know how to party, but
you'll have to have a haircut for that one next time.
Well, I think I'll fit in with this sort of long hair, mate. I think I own the gaff. No, this haircut is going sooner rather than later. No, but I mean, you know, we talk about women's sports, and you obviously have your opinions. You're a big fan of women-only sports, like your netballs, like, you know, that are actually, but you're not so you're a bigger fan of women's cricket or women's football. But name me another sport in the world where the men and the women get paid the same, compete for the same prize money, and have exactly the same chance. And it's no BS, because you've got to have serious bottle to get. You couldn't pay me. Well, first of all, you need a Clydesdale. You know, you need a draft horse to even get me near the starting line. But, you know, there's no way.
It'll be a big boy, that horse.
Be a hell of a horse. It'd be the Trojan horse that knocked down the doors in the old fable. But to have the bottle to get on a Grand National horse in itself is, there's 40 horses going 30 mile an hour over fences at a 9 foot high. Like it's mental.
Those fences do seem massive. When you see the cameras, certain cameras, and you notice the jumps, you're like, bloody hell. They're nowhere
near as big as they used to be either. They used to be giant, and they used to have no give in them. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Any deaths this year? Involved.
Yeah, there was one that was unfortunately pulled up and had sustained fatal injuries, but not over a jump. It was just in running. But the ground was harder this year, so I was a bit worried. But the thing is that the national fences are no real bigger than any hurdle. They've just got a bit of fluff on them. And a bit stiffer, but they used to be huge. But the lefties got involved and soon put a stop to that. Which which happens to most things that are entertaining. But at the end of the day, the horse's safety is priority. And,
Absolutely. We talk about entertaining, and I'm sure your mate, the blonde bomber,
hell of a ding on that.
hell of a ding dang do. Get Ollie Ball on. It's
looks a bit like you now, Az. Most people are aging, and you've gotten younger, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's doing wonders for me. 102 days, mate, off the booze. So
2 days, Jesus.
I know,
Like
I'm still
Tyson
talking this
Fury,
much
mate.
shit. Tyson Fury. I wish I used to be like Tyson Fury. So Ebony Bridges, the blonde bomber, big Leeds United fan. Rafinha, she's got him in the back of her shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you enjoyed her weigh-in, didn't you?
Yeah.
I bet you had a tub of Kleenex next to you for that one.
No, I think Eddie Hearn did well. I don't know. He's been training. We were looking forward the whole time, but no. I mean, what a weird setup that was. By the way, it came out of nowhere, just like this boxer from Australia who had 5 scraps started calling out Courtney Bridges, and she called her a lingerie model. And next thing
Shannon
you know,
Courtney.
Yeah, Shannon Courtney even, yeah. And she's next thing you know, they're having a scrap and they're calling each other every name under the sun. And Ebony comes out in lingerie to the weigh-in, which was
You enjoyed it?
Well, it was something else really. And then they come out and have one of the best scraps I've seen all year. In fact,
it was. I mean, the quality of it for me, I didn't think was great. I go back to Natasha Jonas and Terry Harper. I thought that at the fight camp it was an awesome scrap. I thought it was elite. These two, they're not world level fighters. I mean, that's the problem with women's boxing, that the depth isn't there. But at the end of the day, boxing's about sort of evenly balanced fights, and that was it.
Evenly balanced, that's for sure.
They
were evenly balanced. I'll give her that.
Very well balanced. It was push up. But one fight that wasn't well balanced. But I mean, you couldn't do anything about it. Yeah. Conor Benn, mate. I mean, I haven't got words to describe how much I'm a big of a Conor Benn fan. I think he's the next pay-per-view star. His hands are rapid, and he's so entertaining. He's entertaining the build-up. He's entertaining the ring, and it's going to be really hard to match this lad. I mean, I know. Obviously, you don't.
Junior, where his dad follows him around and bloody.
Yeah, Nigel Benn stays on the outside. I mean, I know you don't follow boxing the same sort of level that I do, obviously, but you look at that welterweight division. It's just crass. I mean, Virgil Ortiz took out Samuel Vargas in the 7th round, and Virgil Ortiz is sort of the golden boy of he is the golden boy at the moment. And obviously, there's a lad called Ennis who's coming through the ranks who won devastating fashion on Saturday as well. Who the Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, and now young Benn. There's going to be some sort of competition between those three to take over the reins.
I rate him, me. I think he's
going all the way.
His weigh-in was class when he started giving him shit in Spanish, and to be fair, I think he's lucky enough that sort of the casual boxing fan obviously knows Benn, but he's not really used that as a tool for his career. And he's been managed perfectly there. I think that people forget he's not, he's really been held back. He's really slowly picking his fights, and to call out Amir Khan,
only 24.
Yeah, and to call out Amir Khan and there's no way Amir Khan's fighting him. No way. He would want that.
No, he gets taken to pieces, in my opinion, Amir Khan. You look at Khan struggle past Sammy Vargas as well, and obviously he blitzed him in 1 round. It was a real statement. I listened to a lot of boxing podcasts and stuff, and there's a lot of people saying, well, I'm not sure about him. I think he's just sort of a name at the moment. But if he does a decent number on Sammy Vargas, then maybe we'll give him a shout. And a lot of people, I saw a lot of Twitter, especially from American journos, saying, Jesus, that was impressive. Yeah, Samuel Vargas, mate, he's so dogged. He always comes in a scrap and he gives it his all. And he had nothing for Conor Benn, which is really impressive. And the boxing coming up, I mean, there's a few. Liam Williams is fighting Andre this weekend, which is one for the purists. But obviously Canelo, Billy Joe is going to be in a few weeks, and that's going to be a huge fight.
Yeah,
But did
I
you
don't
did you
like
hit?
Billy Joe. Though. I think he's a tit, to be honest.
Well, I mean, have you
I
seen
don't
the
know.
news today that it looks like Joshua Fury is about to be signed? Tyson Fury, your big
Yeah,
mate's come out and said in an interview today that he thinks it's pretty much done and the venue's going to get announced in the next couple of days, and he's been as
yeah,
negative as anything.
yeah. I think that Fury's sort of Fury, and he's a good lad, and you don't like him, and that's fine. And probably people say that about you, but
Well, it's the most
um,
positive he's been meant since a failed drugs test.
yeah, no. Well, he had tainted ball, mate. Tainted ball was
Athletes
the
athletes
excuse
regularly eat
for it.
that.
Yeah, well, there's a few American boxers and Mexican boxers that have the same sort of palate. But that's boxing, isn't it? That's elite sport. It's the gaining the edge, as British cycling found out the hard way now. No, but Fury's saying now that he said he's got till Tuesday. He says if he hasn't got it announced on Tuesday, he's given up. He's gonna. I don't know if you watched it. I watched it at lunchtime with Michelle Phillips, as she called
Michelle
her.
Joy Phelps.
Yeah, Phelps. She had an exclusive with Tyson, and he was sat in the
Is
villa
he in
somewhere.
Vegas?
I don't know where he is.
She's in Vegas. She did Billy Joe the other day.
Yeah,
Not literally.
well, that's how rumours start as. No, I think he was somewhere in his flowery Versace shirt and his white trousers on in a big suite in a hotel. So I'm assuming he'll be in Vegas for his fellow gypsy warrior, Mr.
Yeah, I
Billy
think he is.
Joe. But no, I think I'm getting sick of talking about if and when, and I think you're as excited as I am. I think that any casual fan, any fan of British sport,
Sport.
it's going to be amazing. And I think they're both great talkers in their own right.
Absolutely, mate. Hotels are booked. Saudi, here I come. Yeah, I'm
I
looking
don't
forward
think
to
you'd
it.
be welcomed in Saudi somehow, as.
You not reckon?
No, I think
Not with my past record.
I think you'd have to hide your Twitter and maybe change your name, and I think you might have a chance, pal.
Yeah.
But Saudi is a different planet. Although it is getting a bit more liberal, I have my views on Joshua and the fact that he can preach about all this, that, and the other, and then he's going to go and take the dirty dinero down in Saudi Arabia. It's just a slap in the face for all these people that follow him for his causes that are valiant.
I mean, that's sport, mate. At the end of the day, money talks. I mean, you isn't your owner? He sells a lot of stuff in Qatar, doesn't he? I think I don't really know. I mean, who knows? Money talks.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, this sports washing is real, and Joshua's built himself on a platform of being this sort of social justice warrior, and rightly so, because he's come through tough times and he does great for his boxing gym. But then, you're the first to call Fury a hypocrite, and all this, that, and the other. And then if they go and find Saudi Arabia, that just kiboshes anything that he's saying as well, because it's like,
well, he's done it once. They both fought in Saudi. I mean, it is what it is. As long as it happens, mate, I've got no qualms. All right, well, I think I'm good with that. Are you happy?
Yeah, we're missing the story, the story of the wee hours. I don't know if you stayed up for it, as. Mind you, with your fitness routine, you'd have been up at 4:30 doing your run or something like that, the way you've lost weight in the last 100 days. Jesus Christ. But no, Hideki Matsuyama.
First Japanese winner.
Yeah, Japanese, not Jap. Yeah, he I mean, what a round of golf he put together. Zalatoris got close at 9 under.
Happy Gilmore's caddy.
Yeah, he looks a bit like one of our mates. He looks a bit like Boovy.
Well played, Boovy. He's definitely better at golf than Boovy. Trust me, I've seen him.
Yeah,
he plays a bit more like you.
Well, I did play Rudding the other day, and I think yeah, let's put it this way, it was 107.
That's not too bad for you.
No, well, put it this way, I had a mulligan on the first tee because it went backwards. I topped it and it went backwards, and the old boy behind me was giving me some stick, and rightly so. No, but yeah, the Masters, one of my favourite times of year. I famously won money on the Masters when Danny Willett won it back in the day. 66-1 was probably one of my best ever bets I've ever had on golf. I had King Sing Woo at 100-1. I had Cameron Champ at 125-1.
So did I.
And the bleeding Kim Sing-woo finished 12, and Sky Bet paid each way an 11. So Corey Connors birdied the last 2 holes to make him finish 12th. So he was not the flavour of the month.
Corey Connors was my pick at 250-1 in whenever it was in November. But no, mate, I love the Masters. It's class. It was a shame that there was no real big hitters, and obviously I don't know if I did watch it. Matsuyama on the 15th. Obviously he cocked up, and going into the 16th, Xander Schauffele had a chance, and he put it in the drink, and it ended it all there, and obviously it relieved the pressure. But I think we'll wrap it up there, because obviously we've touched upon a lot. There's obviously loads to talk about. So much sport at the moment. I mean, we've not even touched upon the IPL, which there's no point doing. We'll do it in another time. But I think today is the Rajasthan Royals, and all the English lot are coming out. And Sam Curran smashed Tom Curran about, which isn't a surprise. But all right. Well, I hope we've all enjoyed. If you could make sure you subscribe and like. Go on.
The big game of cricket's Killinall versus Goldborough on Sunday in a pre-season friendly.
Jesus Christ! I mean, you'll be taking a picture, like how you framed Liam Cooper, where he got the ball. You'll be there. You'll be in your hands like you've caught it. It won't show you the next bit where you've spilled it.
I've been known to catch him on the volley before, mate. I'm actually going. Interesting. I might do a bit of filming. I'm going to see Kipax tomorrow at the factory to pick a new bit of willow. So I might do a bit of a halves inside look to a cricket bat factory.
Oh, nice one. Make sure you don't get the one with a hole in it like the last season.
If I had £1 for everyone that told me that this week, I'd be getting a free bat too.
Well, it's not inventive. All right, well, we'll love you and leave you. Please make sure if you've got this far, like and subscribe, hit the YouTube button, check it out. Give us a share, whatnot. You know what to do. Follow us on social media. We need all the help we can get. We're busy men, trying to keep this going. And hopefully you enjoyed it.
2,000 views, so I'm pulling my weight, as.
All the best. God bless, Arv.
All the best. God bless, G.